Welcome back to the channel, everybody. So as you can see, I got the graphics on. The bike is completely finished up. What you're going to see in this video is basically from the last one. I got the new radiators in, I got the graphics kit in, and we're going to be putting all that stuff on. I'm also going to be getting the bike started, and towards the end of this video, I'm also going to be showing you guys what I did to get these 2020 plastics installed on this 2001 YZ250. So here it is, guys, all done. Radiators are in, they're full. Gas line is done. The only thing I got left to do, I didn't have hose for the overflow lines, so I am gonna have to knock that out. I got some of the OEM hose, the pink stuff coming, so that'll be good. But yeah, aside from that, she's ready to rip, 100% done. Well, we'll just say 99.9%. She's full of oil. Only thing that's got to happen now is, what do you say, let's throw some gas in this thing and start it up. See about breaking it in. It is a fantastic day in Tennessee right now. It's 80 degrees out, nice and sunny, couple clouds, little wind. It's a nice day. But anyway, what I've got for you today is the graphics for the YZ250. I need to get these lights turned on, but yeah. So before I end off today's video, I promised a lot of you that I would go over some of the things that I did to put the 2020 plastics on this thing. So I'm going to run through those things real quick. I'm going to take off a couple things and show you some mounts, and then maybe I'll make another video later on with some specific dimensions and things like that, things to look out for when you're doing it. So this is kind of going to be reverse order. We're going to start out with the shrouds, okay? So these shrouds, and this isn't how I would have liked to have done it, but it is how I did it since I don't have a TIG welder or any way to weld aluminum. So if you look, this tab right here, I made an aluminum tab off of here, okay? And that's what the lower bolt mount for the radiator shroud bolts to. Did the same thing on the other side. Okay. The front fender needed some new holes drilled. So they're just a slight bit off from what the stock 2020 goes to. In order to get the front plate to mount up, this is the lower triple. I had to tap out these two holes and put a bolt in that went through the bottom, as you can see there. And then on the front number plate, I extended the holes out just slightly and also cut some of the plastic away from the corners so that the front number plate can slide up onto those bolts. And then the top of the number plate, my triple mount, upper triple clamp, is aftermarket for a big 1 1/8 bar. And so it already had this little bracket, but you may have to do something different on a stock triple clamp. So taking the shrouds off, I also made a custom tank mount just out of a piece of aluminum angle bracket. It looks a lot like the stock mount. It just basically custom positions it because the O2 tank, O2 plus tank, doesn't fit on the, even with O2 mounts or O1 mounts on it, it doesn't fit onto the correct spot on the frame. Okay, so next up is the subframe. So in order to get the subframe to fit, the width of this tab right here on the frame actually has to be shortened. So stock, this side right here is just a little wider for the stock O1 subframe. So if you look, it's even now on both sides of this tank tab. And so what you have to do is you have to cut this side to the same width as this side. Now, what I did, I just measured the subframe from, this is a, I think a 05 subframe as well. So I just measured the width of the subframe and just made sure to just cut off the right side. Okay, so this side, just cut off that side and just cut it wide enough for the subframe to fit on. And then you can put the bolt in here, okay? And you'll end up, now keep in mind, these mounts, this is the stock mount that I cut off and re-welded. So it used to be down here, but I cut it off from there. I re-welded it further up. And then on the other side, I had to do the same type of thing. I'll show you in a second. But anyway, so once you get the top bolt in, and this mount is still in the stock location on the O1 frame, you just set your subframe here, and you kind of see where those are going to mount up, okay? And that allows you to kind of position these tabs. So once you cut this one off, it's connected on the back side here, okay? So this is all one piece, it wraps around. You just bolt this tab to the subframe and get it positioned and curved and everything exactly how you want it, and then you can get it welded up. Okay, so on the other side, same type of thing, except when I made the tabs for this side, I actually had to cut off. So this is still the stock mount for the master cylinder. I did upgrade the master cylinder to a newer master cylinder that had an integrated reservoir. So that's just a direct swap off the newer YZ250s and 450F. So that's new. And then what I did with this, I just used some steel that I had laying around, and I made these tabs. So the stock mount sits right here, and there's a little joint, and I just separated that joint and then cut right here. And then once I did that, and I had the other side mounted up where I wanted it, I could get these tabs in the hole for them all set and made. So basically, you have to create these two tabs out of new steel and weld them on the frame. On the other side, you cut the tabs off that are there and you just re-weld them further up. And then the subframe will be all mounted up. There are no mods that you have to make to the subframe, only to the frame. And so you're just creating the lower mounts and you're cutting the top mount off. So that's really about it as far as putting the newer plastics on this thing. You don't really have to do too much. It's just the fabbing up of the lower mounts and the tank mounts, and then everything else kind of just falls into place. You don't have to do any modifications to the airbox. You don't have to modify the rear plastics or the rear fender. The only thing you have to do is tank mounts, frame mounts for the subframe and cut there. And then you have to drill new holes in the front fender, figure out your front plate mounting, and you're golden. Now, somebody else had asked me about the front brake. So stock, the 01 to 04, I think, or up until 04, had the routing where it went around the fork instead of CR style, where it goes and wraps inside the fork, okay? So in order to fit a brake line like that, you have to have a mount right here, a brake line holder, in order to actually hold the brake line so it doesn't go anywhere. Because stock, what would happen is this tab right here, there were mounts like this that mounted to this tab. So since you're not running the brake line all the way down to here, you can't hold it in place from flopping around everywhere. So basically the newer forks, like the SSS forks on the newer bikes, they have a piece of plastic that comes out, and this mount would mount directly to that piece of plastic and hold the brake line basically right here. But instead of that, I basically just found a mount, and this is just a mount that goes onto those fork guards, and just a piece of aluminum. It looks like it's from Titan, and basically you just drill holes through your fork guard, and then this side of this mount is actually threaded. So and it came that way. So you just drill through, you screw it in lightly, like just as loosely as you can. You run your brake line, and then you basically just clamp it down, to a point where it's not going to interfere with your wheel when it's rotating. So I've done that on this bike, and I also did it on a 2001 YZ250 4-stroke. So it's a pretty easy mod, and this brake line is actually from, I believe, a 250 4-stroke as well. So just a newer model. So anyway, that's how you get the front brake line on as well. And as far as the rear master, because I'm sure I may get some questions on that. Like I said, that one's from a 250 or a 450 4-stroke, I believe. And it's just an integrated reservoir, and it's got a little better braking, being a little bit newer model. I wasn't really too concerned with that, but the stock brake line still worked. Stock caliper still worked. Literally the only thing that changed was that rear master, and you just have to dial in your fitment on your rear brake so that it sits in the proper location for your foot peg. Guys, just wanted to say thanks for watching the build series on this YZ250. It was awesome to take this 01, turn it into something cool with the 2020 plastics, and I really hope you just enjoyed watching the series as much as I enjoyed building it. So that's all I got for you on this one. I'll see you on the next one.